What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday morning so far. This is MYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to be bringing you, because yes, it's that time of year. The sun is starting to shine a little brighter. The days are getting a little bit longer. The weather, even though in some places it's still cool, it's starting to heat up a little bit more. And the bats are starting to get corked. The pitchers are toeing the mound. The chalk is being caught up. And baseball season has arrived. I'm excited. I always have been a big fan of baseball. Always loved watching baseball around this time of year. Just like I get excited for the NFL season when it starts in September, or the NBA season when it starts in late October, I always get excited for the beginning of the Major League Baseball season because A, it's also an indication that spring and summer is on the way. B, it's also because the weather's going to start warming up. And C, because there's nothing like just sitting in the ballpark watching yourself a baseball game with your favorite team, and in my case, the New York Metropolitans. And I'm giving you the season preview for the New York Mets. Now, we all know about what happened last year. The team won over 100 games last year, but unfortunately, they got bounced in a 5-game series in the wild card round against the San Diego Padres. And after what looked like to be a very strong start for the New York Mets, where they even got up to as many as 40 games above 500 and were leading the National League East for pretty much most of the season, then the Mets tailed off towards the end, and they ended up getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. Well, for the Mets, it's a whole new season now. Whole new opportunities. Lot of things are going to hopefully be different for this baseball team this season compared to last season. Now, I know us Mets fans, we got some adversity that we have to go against already due to some of the injuries that we're dealing with right now. So, obviously, to start off the season, we got a matchup tomorrow against the Miami Marlins. Those damn pesky Miami Marlins are going to be kicking it off with us starting tomorrow in Miami. That's going to be something there to watch immediately. And we got a 3-game series with this team only until Saturday. Then we have to play the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. Right after that, from Monday to Wednesday, and then we finally have our first home series against the Miami Marlins. So we're playing the Miami Marlins in 6 of our first 9 games of the season, starting next Thursday. And then we have the San Diego Padres right after that, and then we have the Oakland Athletics, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the San Francisco Giants. Those are the first few games of this series, of this season coming up. It's paramount that this team gets off to another quick start. But obviously, you know what the keys of this baseball team is. It's all going to come down to the starting pitching, making sure that A, they stay healthy, and they're able to pitch effectively. B, the hitting has to be even better than what it was last year. Jeff McNeil had a big season, bounced back after his disappointing 2021 season. Lindor had a better season. Alonso played a lot better. He was incredible. Nimmo had a very good season. Marte, before he got hurt, was playing pretty well. Canna contributed at times. We even got decent play from the catching position. Not great, but decent, from Tomas Nido. And obviously with the starting rotation, Max Scherzer was off to a terrific start until he got hurt. Jacob deGrom got injured way too much last year, and that's one of the reasons why the Mets didn't bring him back. And obviously, we saw Chris Bassett, we saw Carlos Carrasco, and we saw Taijuan Walker have moments of success and moments of failure. All of it came crashing back down to reality towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. this year, we are equipped with a new starting rotation. Kodai Senga from Japan now is here. Jose Quintana, before he got hurt, he's here now. And, of course, the multi-time Cy Young winner and champion, Justin Verlander, is here now too, to help anchor, along with Max Scherzer, the top of our rotation. And that is going to be the major key of this season. Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, A, remaining healthy, and B, pitching effectively all season. That is how this New York Mets team is going to ride going into this season, is the health and pitching of Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. Those two will take us so far this season, because these two guys have shown already multiple years in a row how successful they can be if the both of them could stay healthy. You saw it last year with Verlander. He missed a year prior due to having Tommy John surgery, and he came back, and what did he end up doing? He had himself an incredible year, including helping the Houston Astros, leading them to a World Series. Verlander is going to be 40 years old, though. And Max Scherzer is going to be 39, and he's coming off a major injury that he had last year, and he faltered towards the end of the season when he finally got healthy. We need these two guys to be able to stay healthy and be able to give the New York Mets 5, maybe 6 innings of solid starting pitching and lead it into our bullpen, where hopefully we're going to be able to close it out at the end of these games. And obviously, when it comes to the bullpen, obviously, we all know about the major issue that happened with the bullpen, the injury to Edwin Diaz, and how that's going to impact this New York Mets team going into the season. Obviously, now the New York Mets are going to be going closer by committee at the moment. And some other news, Bryce De La Orca, who is one of their highly regarded prospects, he's now going to be undergoing elbow surgery. So that's another pitcher that's going to be down to start the season. So you're going to hope for guys like Adam Ottavino, David Robertson, Brooks Raley, Drew Smith, maybe throw Tyler McGill into the bullpen. You got these guys that are going to have to pick up the pace and really going to have to pitch well. Tommy Hunter, who made the roster. These guys are going to have to pitch well in case the starting pitchers can't go longer than 5 innings. You're going to need this bullpen to be able to step up. Especially with the fact that Quintana is out for a good amount of the season, too. That's another thing. The New York Mets are already going to be without their closer for pretty much the entire season. And you're going to be without 1/5 of your starting rotation for at least until July, maybe August. So the New York Mets are already under the microscope in terms of injuries. And you almost lost Brandon Nimmo at the beginning of the season when he got hurt during a spring training game, but thankfully it wasn't too severe where he's going to miss any time. And he's going to be ready to go for the beginning of the season. So the lineup, and here's the thing too. The lineup looks pretty much the same as it did last year. Now, I know you have some additions. You did bring in Tommy Pham and Tim LeCastro as outfielders, the 4th and 5th outfielders on this team, and you did bring in Omar Narvaez, who's going to split time at the catcher position with homegrown player Tomas Nido. But for the most part, this lineup is exactly the same. You still have Pete Alonso at first, Jeff McNeil at second, Francisco Lindor at short, Eduardo Escobar at third, Mark Canha in left field, Brandon Nimmo in center field, and Starling Marte in right field. And you have Daniel Vogelbach, who's going to be your primary designated hitter going into the season. So pretty much the same exact lineup as you had last year. Maybe what gives a little bit of hope is the young prospects that could be on their way if some of these veterans falter at the beginning of the season. Like we mentioned a million times, Mark Vientos, third baseman / designated hitter, right-handed hitter, 23 years old. Brett Beatty, third baseman, 23-year-old, left-handed hitter. Ronnie Mauricio, switch hitter, 22 years old. Francisco Alvarez, the gem of the whole group, 21 years old. This is what I'm expecting New York Mets fans to be excited about, is these young prospects that are going to be coming up from the minor leagues that are eventually going to try to help this team out. You're also hoping that some of the pitchers, like a Kodai Senga, who is coming over from Japan, is going to be able to transition from the Japanese league to American league and be able to utilize that forkball that he's been making famous over in Japan. That hopefully that's going to become one of his biggest pitches coming into this Major League Baseball season. That's one thing right there. You're hoping that Justin Verlander is going to be able to stay healthy and he's going to be able to give the New York Mets exactly what they were looking for when they signed him to that 2-year, $86 million deal. You're hoping that Max Scherzer, who dealt with injuries last year, is going to be able to stay healthy this year and give the New York Mets that 1B to Justin Verlander's 1A. You're hoping that Cookie Carrasco is going to be able to pitch well this year and be able to have another sub-4 ERA and give this team 30 to 35 starts this year. You're hoping that Tyler McGill and David Peterson getting the first opportunity, they're going to be able to fill in for Jose Quintana and give this New York Mets team effective pitching in the starting rotation. You're mostly hoping that this team could stay healthy. And this team has some good things to them. But it's not out of the realm for Mets fans to be a little bit concerned about this New York Mets team going into this 2023 season. It's a different team. The starting rotation is a lot different compared to what it was last year. You essentially only have 2/5 of your starting rotation back. Like I mentioned, Jacob deGrom, Chris Bassett, Taijuan Walker, they're gone. Kodai Senga, Jose Quintana, Justin Verlander, they're in. Well, right now, Quintana's not in. He's out until he gets back from injury. You have a new catcher, along with Tomas Nido. Omar Narvaez is going to be one of the catchers now. You have a couple of new outfielders. You have a new infielder in Danny Mendick, who is killing it during spring training as well. It's another guy, some more depth. Like I mentioned, you have new outfielders, Tim LeCastro, as well as Tommy Pham. You have some new bullpen pieces, headlined by David Robertson and Brooks Raley. This Mets team has a lot of things that can get you excited going into this Major League Baseball season, but at the same time, there's also some things on this team that make you concerned. The starting rotation for the one part, it's an older rotation. And you are relying on a couple of late 30s, 40-year-olds to be able to stay healthy and be able to pitch effectively and give you the type of innings and production that you're hoping that these guys can give you. That is relying very, very heavily on older pitching staff. You are relying on guys like Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, to give you seasons that they gave you last year and as well as stay healthy. You were relying on key bench pieces like Luis Guillorme, Tommy Pham, Danny Mendick, Daniel Vogelbach, Tim LeCastro. You're relying on these guys to be able to come in and be able to give you some production if these starters have to miss any time due to injury, or if you want to give any of these guys a rest. You're relying on a bullpen that now has to try to be pieced together towards the back end because of the season-ending injury to your all-star closer. There's some things on this team that are not out of the realm of concern. But at the same time, there's a lot to be excited about this New York Mets team too. And going into a 2023 Major League Baseball season, well, you know optimism is in the air. And you know you got an owner who is not afraid to spend money if necessary. This is going to be a very, very competitive division. The Atlanta Braves are not going anywhere. They're still going to be one of the best teams in Major League Baseball, if not the best team in the National League East. And the Philadelphia Phillies, whom they suffered a big injury of their own when they lost Rhys Hoskins, who tore his ACL during a spring training practice. He's out for the season, but that team is still loaded with talent too. And the Miami Marlins, you can't ever underestimate the Miami Marlins. They are like a thorn in the New York Mets side and have been for so many years. So while there is optimism in the air, every Mets fan should be optimistic, as I am too. But just be cautious. Be cautious. Because there's still some things on this team that need to be improved. And I have no doubt, if the time comes, whether we call up some top prospects or whether Steve Cohen goes out there and trades for some big players and Billy Epler, the Mets, I believe, the Mets are going to be at least a mid-90s to close to 100-win team. I'm giving this team around 96 wins this season. That's where I'm going. I'm going with around 96 wins. So you subtract that, that's about 72 losses, I believe. I'm sorry, 64 losses. That's not too bad. 96 win baseball team, I'll take it. But you guys let me know in the comment section your optimism heading into this Major League Baseball season for the New York Mets. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Give a sub to NYGJeffyT85. More news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Mets. And turn on the bell for notifications the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Mets. And like I mentioned, leave a comment in the comment section on what you think and your optimism, and if you're pessimistic, on the beginning of the New York Mets season, starting tomorrow in Miami against the Miami Marlins to kick off the 2023 New York Mets baseball season. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Hump Day Wednesday. Take it easy and let's go New York Mets. As always, all you got to do is got to believe in those boys from Queens.